Hey, what's up guys, aarava here, and welcome back to an episode of my F1 2018 career mode, episode number 109 today for the Baku Azerbaijan Grand Prix. If you guys did miss the previous one then at the Chinese Grand Prix, then be sure to go check that one out before you see this one uploaded yesterday. But heading into this episode then, obviously we've got that one major upgrade for the engine. That will come next episode for the Spanish Grand Prix. That takes 2 episodes to usually come in, and so we plateau for this one. Renault, you can see, have a minor upgrade there. I think that's a minor there, so they actually improve from where they are, and so that gulf becomes a little bit bigger, or pretty much the same as it was at Australia, because of course we had a minor upgrade for the Chinese Grand Prix. But in the midfield, a bit more interesting there. You got Haas leapfrogging Sauber there. Williams get ever closer to Force India, and then McLaren looks to have overtaken Toro Rosso there. But literally, Mercedes, Toro Rosso, and McLaren are pretty much on the same pixel on the performance chart, so all very, very close. But for Renault, with an upgrade already to an already strong package, they might be very strong here at Azerbaijan if they don't get caught up. That's the big question, because obviously last episode, spoiler alert, Dan Ricciardo in the Renault Works team had a horrendous time crashing out that Grand Prix. So it's really just about, Renault. I think this entire season, they have the entire thing in their hands. It's just about they can actually do it and pull it through and use the good car they have to its full potential. But anyway, speaking about qualifying, we get through Q1 very easily there. Had a bit of help with a long toe on the back straight from that Force India car before it peeled into the pits, and then we move into Q2. I wasn't amazingly positive about how this Grand Prix would go for us as a whole. Obviously, I know the car should be pretty good. In a straight line, it was pretty decent at China, but at the same time, Baku's never been a great one for us, and I just don't know if the car is a bit too draggy. I've had to compromise a little bit on the setup work. I've got a lower rear wing than I've ever ran at Azerbaijan, so hopefully that does help out. And it did help out in Q2 at least, because we got a very high position up into P2 to my surprise to split the two Renaults. Verstappen only just making it in P9 there, with Gasly the bottom one in P10 in Q2. But alas, into Q3 then we'll really find out what the cars are going to perform like. Obviously this is when the full party mode, if you will, is brought out for all the cars, and it's all laid out on the table in terms of what we can do here. So at the moment, I believe Verstappen is getting held up in a bit of issues, which we'll come to a little bit later in this session, because we go through to the end of our lap then. Of course, down the main straight at the moment, our provisional pole is Pierre Gasly, the Frenchman. So obviously he got pole last time out of a penalty, was it, for Carlos Sainz in the end at the Chinese Grand Prix. So will it be 2 poles in a row for the Frenchman? Let's find out as we now go through for our second flying lap there. Hardly improved really our lap time on the second run on the top right, you can see, but across the line, even though it's a marginal improvement, it gets us up into P6. Verstappen though, down to P10, no time set, and you can see there, look at that, both Renaults have penalties. Now, this is what happened. This is what I meant by Verstappen was hitting issues. Earlier on the session, I paused the indicator halfway through my first flying lap to look at the race director to see where Verstappen was, and you can see there, he's got a DNF. So apparently, even before he set one lap time, he DNF'd out the Grand Prix, and you can see that both the Renaults were, well, either finished their lap or on an in-lap there. Now, because they both have penalties, I'm going to assume that they got it in a kind of kerfuffle with Verstappen, because I don't typically think they show engine penalties on the actual timing screen here. Usually they always show them afterwards on the main grid, on the starting sequence grid animation. So I think what's happened is the Renaults have gotten some sort of issue with Verstappen and somehow crashed him out the session in Q3. Unfortunately, I can never look at those replay cameras, because at the end of the session, there's no option to view a replay of qualifying. That would be quite a good idea to actually put for Codemasters, because sometimes things do happen in qualifying that are quite interesting. But yeah, for some reason, a bit of controversy there. I guess the two Renaults had some sort of altercation, and they've both got penalties. So I think Sainz had a 5-place penalty, and Ricciardo even more, maybe a 10-place, I think that was. So we're going to gain 2 positions maybe up into P4, so that'll be really good for us. And once again, Pierre Gasly will be on pole position for another Grand Prix. So very exciting times. But let's move into Sunday then and just find out how we do then, basically. So Verstappen, I don't even know how he would have performed, so I don't really know where our car is going to be. Let's just, fingers crossed, hope it's a good one for us.
Good afternoon and welcome to Baku. This was the arena, if you think back to 2017, of one of the most eventful races of modern history, with controversy behind the safety car, last-second overtakes, and a historic podium for Williams and for Lance Stroll. So let's find out what lies in store for us this year. It's time for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Baku City Circuit then, an unpredictable 3.7-mile track around the streets of the Azerbaijan capital. 20 turns for our drivers to navigate today, including the infamous Turn 8, one of the tightest and most challenging corners of the season. Joining me for the Grand Prix once again is Anthony Davidson. Now I want to ask you about Marcus Ericsson. As ever, the threat of unreliability is never far away, and indeed they'll be starting out of position today due to a power unit component change. So it's going to be a difficult task to move forward from there.
But on the bright side, at least those fresh components can help them maintain the power they need to come through the pack. I expect to see them take a more aggressive approach today to make up for the compromised start.
So now let's take a look at the starting grid ahead of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix for Season 6 of this F1 2018 career mode. Of course, with the Renaults having penalties, it's Pierre Gasly, the Frenchman, on pole position yet again, alongside Charles Leclerc, very young front row there, with Nico Hülkenberg in third place then, and myself in P4. Van Dorn P5, Sainz moves down to P6, with Ocon in 7th, Hamilton, Perez, and Ricciardo round out the top 10. Alonso in P11, Magnussen alongside him, Grosjean, Vettel, Raikkonen, and Brendan Hartley next, and then you've got the two Williams cars. Max Verstappen then in P19, actually, as he's hit with an engine penalty there, so some reliability issues for the Red Bull Hondas early on. Of course, we had that last episode. And to round out the grid is Valtteri Bottas in P20. So, interesting results after qualifying and ahead of this race then. So, not only the two Renaults hit with the penalties that they had in Q3, Verstappen then takes a bog-standard mechanical engine penalty to move himself all the way down to P19. So, already maybe we're getting hit with some early penalties due to that unreliability of the new Honda power unit in the back of our car. Obviously, it's going to take us a while to maybe get to the reliability levels that Toro Rosso have had since they've had 5 seasons now with the power unit. But we move now on the strategy to a one-stop. That has worked out really well for us as of late at Azerbaijan. It's unfortunate. It seems a lot of these first races, the one-stop so overpowered and so powerful, but it just, it's the way to go, basically. You get track position, and so you're able to defend your position and basically just running clean air, because a lot of these first tracks in the season are so bad for traffic. That's just ideal. So we're going to try and go to a set of soft tyres, pitting around lap 7, I would say. Might go earlier on lap 6 if we're really hitting issues, or might even go later to lap 8 or 9, depending on what the traffic's like, and also if the pace is good for us. Obviously, that's going to be the important factor for us. But we're going to get into this then from P4 on the grid. So a bit of a gift here today in Baku at Azerbaijan as we go to 5 red lights from round number 4 of Season 6. The 5 lights are out and we're underway. It's a good getaway for us, but even more so for Charles Leclerc, the youngster in the Sauber, down the inside of Pierre Gasly then. So Leclerc and Gasly side by side, familiarity there for my channel. And so they battle away for P1 and 2 as we have to just tuck in behind there the Mercedes car. Meanwhile, Carlos Sainz already getting ahead of that is Stoffel Van Dorn in the second Toro Rosso, as Gasly has lost the lead, but he comes back, the Frenchman, to try and retake the lead. Obviously the man on pole position, so it'd be kind of nice for him to keep the lead for at least one lap there, and he does a good job to squeeze Leclerc into the wall almost there to really get the elbows out, and I think he might just maintain P1 there, but Leclerc puts up a very good fight. He's on the inside, it's an off camber and then left and then right, and it's a very awkward bump on the inside, but even more so awkward for Leclerc, who gets shoved into the wall yet again. So Gasly getting very aggressive, and then just before the castle section, that right-hander before the castle corner, Gasly able to get it up into P1. Leclerc has to slot in P2, but the Mercedes just about managing to hang on there. I tried something to the outside, just didn't work out there. So for now, Hülkenberg in his new home survives there in P3 on the podium position, but a long way to go. Obviously 25 laps remaining as we go towards lap number 2, and Carlos Sainz now is right up our gearbox, and he's going to have some good straight line speed there. The Renault obviously has a clear advantage in the corners and power, but we're actually getting a great toe off the Mercedes and Sauber. I go very tentative though on the brakes, maybe a little bit too timid, I will fully admit after watching back this footage, but I was so scared of locking up there on heavy fuel. And as the two guys go side by side, Hülkenberg up into P2 and Leclerc down to P3, so I'm trying to get a toe off them as well, and really that was just an aid to help us defend against Carlos Sainz, but who's still coming now again on the second straight. He actually goes for a dive to the inside as Hülkenberg now is under pressure yet again from Leclerc. So 2 by 2 here this is for P2 and P3 and P3 and P4 and P5 I should say, as Sainz now is going to still be right on the gearbox. They're pressurizing us, and we actually make a mistake here. We go way too hot into that corner, lock up on the front left, and that just allows Sainz to go round the outside, and so just basically a bad mistake for me, and a lock up on the front left. Maybe the tyre wear already kicking in, so Sainz up the order. To be honest though, Sainz probably was always going to get that position. I'd rather maybe not fight him too much and not lose too much time, but now Van Dorn is diving down the inside. We're getting swamped as we're hit into the wall there. We make contact with the Pirelli wall as Van Dorn gets very aggressive, over aggressive in a way. Is now Ocon and Ricciardo right up my chuff. Ocon tries to send one around the outside, And so now this is not a pretty place to be. It's almost like I'm getting really swamped here now in this Grand Prix, and I think also there might be some engine wear issues to also contend with later on. We'll have to check about that on the main straight as we go through now. You've got Ricciardo on the left potentially, Ocon on the right there, and you've also got some more cars, Perez and onto another fifth car, that's Hamilton that is, and so they're 2x2s. We're going to lap 3 now, turn 1. We're just about hanging on to this on Ricciardo, but he's on the outside, and look at the engine wear we have there, and gearbox. Our gearbox and internal combustion engine are both yellow on the heads-up display there, so I didn't really notice that they were that bad going into the Grand Prix, but now looks like they've just ticked over to the yellow mark there, 70% worn, 71% I should say, for the internal combustion engine, so that might be giving us some issues now in terms of pure engine power there on the straight as Ricciardo is past us. And so as we go through the laps though, eventually we'll get back past him because he comes in for the pit stops now, because a lot of these guys will be doing usually a default 2 stop, so we will gain position. So we're up into P5 now, eventually on towards lap number 6 we're up into P2, and Carlos Sainz is the only one that remains, so eventually we should actually maybe get into the lead of this Grand Prix maybe as we come through now on lap 6 though. We're being attacked by Sergio Perez before, so it looks like Carlos Sainz might be going a little bit longer as Perez now comes to our inside. They almost trying to make a move on that very tight right-hander before the actual straight, but then it's just a motorway kind of pit straight towards turn 1, and he flies past with to none ERS because I don't have too much ERS to play with. So not only do I have engine wear that's holding my engine horsepower back, but I also obviously don't still have great ERS management to my car, and I'm having to struggle kind of going in none a lot of the time to turn 1 to try and save that ERS power. And so on lap 7 being attacked by Kevin Magnussen, but would have come in anyway for a pit stop. He's on super soft, so he'll be going longer than we can, but we come in now on the planned lap 7 for this set of soft tyres. But a very well, worrying first stint, to be honest, and it looks like, you know, even before we talk about my pace around Azerbaijan as a whole, the engine itself is not looking too great in terms of, you know, that's just, you know, pure power and time you're losing on every single straight, every single acceleration zone with the internal combustion engine there. So that's just not great for us as we come out now just behind the Force India, and we come out actually ahead of this will be Max Verstappen, who's just going to be right coming to turn 1 just about now. And so Verstappen obviously in P19, he's done well to actually get himself in some clean air, but he's on a 2-stop. Obviously we've got yellow flags up ahead. We come out in P18, so quite some way down the order, but there's a car parked up there and we narrowly miss it. We goes through it, thankfully. That flusters me to no end there. The safety car is out now, the full safety car, but we almost plant it into the wall there, and so I almost had a heart attack there as I thought I was heading straight for a collision with a parked car, 2 parked cars, because this is why you've got one of the Williams cars, I can't quite tell, I think it's Sorokin that has an engine failure, but he smashes his teammate out and his teammate's sideways on the track. Hulkenberg smashes into the wall and loses both tyres on his Mercedes car, and Sorokin's still spewing engine smoke away. This is Lance Stroll, then his teammate there. There's the engine failure for Sorokin, and he's sideways. What a collision there. And then on the background you can see that was Hulkenberg who hit the rear end of Lance Stroll as he went sideways on the track, and he was out the Grand Prix because he also hit the wall then, and both his tyres came off. So you're about to see here one tyre on the right and then second tyre on the left, and he's parked up there. And obviously these were both parked up there, and I thought I narrowly was going to hit them. At this point I just thought, oh my god, that's going to be race over surely, so it flustered me to the point where I almost missed my brake point then because I thought I was going to hit Hulkenberg. So thanking my lucky stars I didn't slam straight into the wall, but unfortunately that means I do have to give up the position to Max Verstappen as we now move on to the race restart on lap number 10 this will be. So we've already had such a chaotic Azerbaijan Grand Prix, got 16 more laps to go as now the leaders start to accelerate. It's still yellow flags for us, but we're getting right up behind Verstappen. It's going to be a fantastic start to this 80 car. I can't quite get Verstappen though as he blocks me off there. I go to the right to try and get slipstream, but I'm going to follow Verstappen through because he makes a move on 1, 2, 3 cars there. A brilliant move there by my teammate there. That's a real Verstappen-esque kind of dive bomb you would kind of do maybe in real life if you gave him half a chance. And so we tried to follow him through. We do successfully actually get 2 places there on Fernando Alonso and the Ferrari of Sebastian Vettel, who how mighty have fallen these days in Season 6 as now we're up into P11. Verstappen though up into P9. That will be making the move on Magnussen, my former teammate from Seasons 1 and 2 in the Haas. We're going to try a dive to the inside, catch him napping somewhat, but I get on the curbing there on the right hand side. He's got ultra soft tyres on as well, so in the end he just has more grip and I have to give up the position in P11, so we're going to have to stick behind and just kind of be a bit patient. But the thing is now, a lot of these guys still have to make two second stop now, and I'm a lot closer to them than they would have been before. So actually, this safety car has helped me out quite a fair bit, actually, in terms of making this one stop maybe work, as Carlos Sainz, the race leader, I believe, at the moment, is setting a blistering lap time there. So Sainz has already kind of jumped everyone who was ahead of him, Leclerc, Gasly in the pit stop phase, and he's up into the lead of this Grand Prix. And so the two Renaults, even after the penalties, are flexing their muscles. But as you're going through this Grand Prix, then we're up into P8. This will be on lap 14 as everyone starts to make their second stops of the afternoon. As we catch up to Magnus, a little bit awkward into turn one, a little bit hot. And you can see there we're constantly having to manage our ERS because it's so low there, 1/3 of the bar. Even by the time we get to the end of lap 14, I've only saved enough for half a bar of ERS, so I'm still on medium there, trying to desperately try and save any electrical power I can as we get up into P3 now. Gasly in P2 and Sainz in P1, and eventually on lap 15 Gasly will make his pit stop and we're going to be up into P2 of this Grand Prix, and the only guy left then is Carlos Sainz, but he's actually got so much pace at the moment in this Grand Prix, and he's so far ahead that he makes his second stop and he gets back out ahead of me there. So we're in P2 then on soft tires trying to go to the end. You got P3 is going to be Dan Ricciardo in the other Renault, so both making a very good comeback there. Vettel at the moment in P4 actually, but I think he'll fall behind. You've got Gasly chasing after him and also Van Dorn, so the two Toro Rossos going very well indeed are in Azerbaijan. Then you've got Lewis Hamilton and then Verstappen, so these are all the people that might be coming for me on super soft tires. Then you've got a bit of a train here with the two Force Indies, there's Saubers alike, so it's now just a case of can we actually survive in P2. I don't know for how long, to be honest, because here comes Ricciardo now, a big dive bomb for P2 there. He goes a bit deep though and almost hits the wall, and so we make a lovely little switchback move, very cheeky there on Ricciardo, and so we're kind of annoying him in a way, but pretty much we're delaying the inevitable, I would honestly say, because he's got way too much pace. I don't have a lot of pace around Azerbaijan, just putting my hands up, and then also the engine issues we're having right now with the internal combustion engine wear are not helping me. And so on this straight, pretty much, I wouldn't be surprised if Ricciardo and also that Toro Rosso might waltz past us, because it's Pierre Gasly on the left. It's going to be 3 wide momentarily. Look how close it is there. A bit of contact and wobbling at 210 miles per hour there. So close, but absolutely amazing to watch. And Gasly and Ricciardo do a bit of battling as the front right tyre hits the rear left. And now Van Dorn fancies it down my inside. I have a double lock-up, and so I completely just make a big old mistake there, down to P5. I just don't have any pace at the moment. It's gone. This race is just going down the toilet for me at this moment in time. I don't have a lot of confidence on these tyres anymore. They're very worn out compared to everyone else, because remember, I've been on these tyres since lap number 7, whereas everyone else has pretty much just pit like 2-3 laps ago for these tyres. So they're just so much faster than me now, and so it really is a damage limitation part of the race with this engine, where I also have on the right hand side, you can see there about just how little points I can lose basically from where I am right now in this Grand Prix. As we move on now to lap 19, Hamilton is down our inside. They're going to try our best to defend against him. Verstappen is also right behind us, and so actually, to be honest, I'm thinking more about the team play here. Can I hold Hamilton up enough to maybe allow Verstappen to have a go? But as much as I try to hold him up in these corners, he just gets better acceleration and better grip there, and so he's past me, and so instead I go wide on purpose as I lock up as well, a little bit unintentionally, but basically I make it easy for Verstappen and just basically let him through, because he's got a better chance of finishing high in this Grand Prix. In this stage of the season, you know, there's not a champion, the championship's not on the line yet. We still have so many races to go. I'd rather play the team game of not holding up my teammate here. He can maybe go up and overtake Hamilton and, you know, do better in this Grand Prix. And for now, for me, it's just a survival race. And you can see actually quite clearly up ahead, look at the top left, Hamilton now is the one ahead of me, because Verstappen has successfully overtaken Lewis, as now there's another safety car there. So that's very weird. So 2 safety cars in this race. It really has been the season of safety cars so far. We've had 1 safety car at least in every single race. Very odd. Charlie Whiting very overly safe here, and this is why this safety car was called out, because Grosjean here's got a puncher. Very dangerous, to be fair, actually, as the 2 Ferraris and McLaren trying to navigate him. So fair enough, I guess, but still, I mean, Grosjean would have got out of the way eventually. But anyway, a bit of a soft safety car pulled out there. So we're in P7 now on the restart, trying to do my best job again to try and close up on Verstappen, who's actually for some reason fallen behind Hamilton, because under the safety car period, Verstappen for some reason gave back the position to Hamilton. It doesn't matter though, because straight away in turn 1, look at that, bosh, Verstappen already up the order and overtaken Hamilton. So Verstappen really showing the overtaking prowess he's known for in real life in the game right now. And for me, unfortunately, I just don't have any pace. Look at this in a straight line now. Leclerc slipstreaming. Remember, no DRS available yet. 2 laps after the safety car only does it become available. But Leclerc is already trying to overtake me there in a straight line with the Sauber power, the Ferrari Sauber power there. Thankfully, we maintain P7 for now though, because on lap 23 then he's going to come back at us. We're going to try and squeeze him as much as we can on the left-hand side and then go to the racing line, but we derate a little bit across the line because we run out of ERS deployment there. I'm going to go wide, cut back in, a little bit of contact on the rear end, but we make a switchback work in the end. And on lap 24, we're back up into P7, but we get dive bomb now by, that's Magnussen there. So we're 3 wide. What a dive bomb from Magnussen. I have no words apart from GG's. That's very unorthodox to see an AI make such a big dive bomb there. And so now those two go side by side, being attacked now by Ocon. And it is a pretty depressing sight at the moment. And I can't really blame anyone else apart from myself, because I maybe should have seen that my engine was this worn before the Grand Prix and just taken an engine penalty, but I honestly just didn't check it because I didn't think it was going to be that bad. And then also, at this moment in time, I just don't have too much pace around Azerbaijan. Meanwhile, we see a battle between P2 and P3. This is Gasly v Ricciardo there, and Gasly desperately trying to get up into P2 for Toro Rosso. Van Dorn doing a great job in P4 there, so it might be a great day for the Toro Rosso boys. Ricciardo for now is holding P2. Very hard to tell with the camera angle, but trust me, he's in P2, but he's going to lock up now into the next corner. He brings Van Dorn wide. There goes Verstappen now, maybe up into P4 just about, but Van Dorn squeezes him out, but Gasly is up into P2 then. So Sainz is in a commanding lead, but Gasly now has got a bit of a gap from P2 to P3. Ricciardo maintains that last podium position. Verstappen for now is up in P4 ahead of Van Dorn. So what did I say? It was very crucial for me to let Verstappen go early on, because I wouldn't have got P4, whereas he might have. Obviously, we don't know until the checkered flag's flown if Van Dorn might have got past him. Of course, very good chance of that, because on the main straight, it's so easy to make a pass, as Carlos Sainz does win the Grand Prix. But on the line, on the last straight now, the last lap, unfortunately for me, Perez is going to have way too much straight line speed for me. Across the line, he will finish ahead of us, and we're demoted down to a lowly P10 and 1 measly championship points paying position. That is definitely a Grand Prix to forget for me.
It was a magnificent race and a drive right out of the top draw to take the win for Renault. Anthony, what do you think made the difference here?
Without a doubt, the safety car changed everything today. The key to their success was keeping calm and reacting to the situation quickly. We've seen teams in the past throw away wins because they were too hesitant, but here they were decisive, and that's allowed them to take the advantage.
So Carlos Sainz gets his first win of Season 6 in the Renault. GG's, fair play. Gasly in P2 and Ricciardo in P3. And so in the championship, though, to be fair, with me in P10, look at this now. The top 4 all separated by 1 point there. The P2 to P4 all on the same amount of points there. 1 point to Gasly, and then only 1 more point to Ricciardo in P5. So the top 5 separated by 2 points there, or covered by 2 points, I should say. So very, very exciting stuff, actually, with only 4 rounds gone. And the constructors also, Renault are only 1 point now behind us at Red Bull Honda, but like I said, definitely one to forget for us. Like I said, you know, I do hold up my hands. One, I wasn't too great in terms of pace anyway, raw out and out pace. I didn't have too much of it, especially on those soft tyres. I think the safety car was more of a kind of almost a bad thing for me than rather a blessing, because the fact that we all got bunched up together did not help me, because usually I have a lot of time for them to catch me up, whereas they were already there behind me with the safety car. But at the same time, also benefited in ways, but yeah, I just didn't have too much pace. And then also on top of that, the internal combustion engine wear just did not help me. So, you know, it was always going to be a bit of a tough one, and I should have maybe checked it a bit more, especially if it's going to be such a close season like this, and I need to be checking it every single episode to make sure that I'm not fluffing up. But in the end, still enjoyable Grand Prix nonetheless. I mean, to watch that back, such carnage there with that almost crash with us. I mean, that was, I can tell you, in the moment, I almost had a heart attack when I went nearly into the ghosted car, because you don't know if it's going to ghost or not. A lot of the time in career mode, the cars don't ghost. It usually happens online, but in career mode offline, usually they don't ghost. So I was so panicked and flustered there. So definitely an exciting one from that perspective. So guys, if you did enjoy the episode, be sure to smash that like button, guys. You guys have been killing the support on the first 3 episodes of Season 6. So long may it continue. Thank you guys so much. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. If you're new around here, you can subscribe for weekly full-on content. I've been Alfa. Hope you enjoy the rest of your day. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.